Dopamine is a precursor to which other chemical? Norepinephrine. The brain uses dopamine to create norepinephrine, another important messenger. Which amino acid is the starting point for dopamine? Tyrosine. Tyrosine is found in protein-rich foods and is the building block for dopamine. Dopamine belongs to which group of chemicals? Catecholamines. It shares this group with other chemicals like epinephrine and norepinephrine. Dopamine helps the brain decide if a task is worth the effort. It plays a major role in cost-benefit analysis and motivation. What happens during a dopamine hit? You feel a burst of motivation. A hit refers to the rush of satisfaction or anticipation we feel. Too much dopamine in certain brain paths is linked to schizophrenia. Overactive dopamine signaling can contribute to hallucinations and delusions. Which organ uses dopamine outside of the brain? The kidneys. In the body, dopamine can act as a vasodilator and affects sodium excretion in kidneys. Which behavior can trigger a dopamine release? Eating a favorite snack. Brain rewards us with dopamine when we do things necessary for survival, like eating. What is reuptake? The brain reabsorbing used dopamine. Reuptake is how the brain recycles dopamine to be used again later. What is the ventral tegmental area (VTA)? A dopamine-producing part of the brain. The VTA is a starting point for the reward pathway in the brain. Can food affect dopamine levels? Yes, especially protein and sugar. High sugar foods can cause a quick spike, while proteins provide the building blocks. A lack of dopamine is closely linked to which disease? Parkinson's disease. Low dopamine levels lead to the tremors and movement issues seen in Parkinson's. Does dopamine make you happy or make you want? It is mostly about wanting and craving. While often linked to pleasure, it is more about the drive to get a reward. Low dopamine levels can lead to low motivation and anhedonia. Without enough dopamine, things that used to be fun might feel boring. How does dopamine travel between neurons? Across the synapse. It is released from one neuron and travels across a small gap called a synapse. Dopamine helps control which of these functions? Body movement. Dopamine is essential for smooth and coordinated muscle movements. Where is most dopamine produced in the brain? The substantia nigra. A large portion of dopamine is made in the midbrain areas like the substantia nigra. A DHD is often treated with medicine that increases dopamine activity. Many ADHD medications help by making more dopamine available for focus. Which system is dopamine most famous for? The reward system. Dopamine is key to how we feel pleasure and stay motivated. Which of these is a natural way to boost dopamine? Exercise. Physical activity is known to increase dopamine levels and improve mood. Which of these is a common nickname for dopamine? The feel-good hormone. It is often called this because it is released during pleasurable situations. What is the mesolimbic pathway? A major dopamine reward pathway. This pathway connects the VTA to the nucleus accumbens and regulates feelings of pleasure. Which addictive behavior relies on dopamine? Gambling. The near miss or win in gambling triggers a massive dopamine release. When is dopamine released during a goal? When you think about the reward. Dopamine often spikes in anticipation of a reward, not just the reward itself. What is dopamine? A neurotransmitter. Dopamine is a chemical messenger that helps transmit signals in the brain. What are the proteins that dopamine binds to called? Dopamine receptors. Receptors sit on the surface of cells to catch the dopamine signals. Which of these can lower dopamine over time? Chronic stress. Long-term stress can exhaust the brain's ability to produce or use dopamine. What is the precursor molecule used to make dopamine? L-DOPA. The brain converts the amino acid L-tyrosine into L-DOPA, then into dopamine. What is dopamine fasting? Reducing overstimulating activities. It is a trend where people avoid cheap thrills to reset their brain's reward sensitivity. Dopamine helps us focus our attention. Balanced dopamine levels allow us to concentrate and stay on task.